for approval of the agenda, let's make a motion to vary the agenda. Moving the close up to 6.0, just before the consent agenda. Can I get a second? All in favor? Opposed? Approval of the agenda. Recommendation, please. Councilor Kirby.
That the Monday, April 6, 2020 regular council meeting amended agenda be approved as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Calkin. All in favor?
Announcing participant.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Bernier.
Hi, Mike.
Hello, whoever I have there. Worship.
Yes, sir. Yep, we're just about there. Give me a couple minutes here.
Good, whatever you need.
Adoption of the minutes, March 11th, 2020 special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Majinski.
That the March 11th, 2020 special council meeting minutes are adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Howe. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 3.2, March 16th, 2020 special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Lehman.
That the March 16th, 2020 special council meeting minutes are adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Kirby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 3.3, March 23rd, 2020 regular council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
That the March 23rd, 2020 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Kirby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, Council? Staff? Thank you. Moving on to 6.1, delegations. MLA Mike Bernier. Mike Bernier to present to council via teleconference. MLA update. Answer questions. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, good afternoon. This is, I guess, a different way of social distancing, everyone, but thanks for having me. I didn't know if we would continue on, but I'm pleased to be able to call in. Sorry I can't be there in person, obviously. Do we have everybody actually in the chambers all spread out there, Your Worship?
We sure do, yep.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for having me. I'm sure if I had done this presentation live as I had planned to prior to all this COVID starting, it would have been a little bit of a different presentation. I would have been probably a little bit more political, talking about some of the challenges we're facing in Victoria with the economy and the taxes, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, I should probably forego that kind of discussion for now because, of course, the number one issue seems to be and is the COVID-19 issue around the province. So let me just, you know, I'm sure everybody there has been getting updates. If you follow me on social media, as I know some of you do, I try to put as much as I can on there without overwhelming people. But of course, now we've got all of the recent updates that come out almost daily. I have daily conference calls with Victoria, and they have created an MLA hotline, I guess you can call it. And that hotline is basically to allow for MLAs, for us to be able to, any issues we hear in our ridings, to be able to put them in right away and hopefully get the ear of government right away. I think for obvious reasons, one of the things that we are not doing is trying to over-politicize anything at this time. I think if you look around, British Columbia has been one of those provinces that's been working well together. You know, this is the time we're putting the politics aside, regardless of the political stripe, working together to put an end to this crisis. We're probably going to start in the very near future starting to go after some of the areas, very lightly, but go after some of the areas where we feel are not getting the attention that is needed, and that's some more resources for seniors, for our university kids. You know, we're hearing a lot of challenges still with getting the message out in some areas around social distancing, but, you know, I should thank everybody as well. We've been very fortunate up in this area to not have a major crisis right now. And so it's, I think, and I would chalk it up to, the majority of the people are taking this seriously right now. I know out in Tumbler Ridge, there must be a lot of worry as well, as there is everywhere. And I guess what I could say to that is, you know, we are trying to treat this issue as if it is everywhere. For all we know, it's in Dawson Creek, in Chatwin, in Tumbler Ridge, and so we should all be acting accordingly. And so maybe if you don't mind, Your Worship, we'll just maybe open it up maybe to questions first, and maybe that'll turn into a few more pieces that I can share if you'd like.
Sure thing, Mike. Thank you for that. Council, do you have any questions? Councillor Kirby?
Thank you. Nice to hear from you, Mike. I have a question regarding municipal tax deadlines. And I know municipalities have been reaching out to the province to see if that deadline would be changed and possibly waiving penalty fees. Have you heard anything on that?
No, I haven't. I know there have been, from the federal side of things, they've been pushing forward with expanding, I guess, the deadline for federal taxes for submitting your tax returns. I know there's been a lot of pressure on government lately because of that exact issue you just raised, though a lot from not so much from the citizenry as much as it is from business right now. And I think that's the first wave of people who seem to be instantly impacted is businesses who have been forced to close doors or reduce hours and lay off staff, now have very little, if any, revenue stream coming in and expected to, if they're on a triple net lease, or expected to pay their taxes come here in just a few months. I think as we get closer, though, we're going to start hearing from seniors, from citizens, people who have lost their jobs as well, saying, look, I don't know how I'm going to make ends meet or pay my taxes. So I know that's going to be a pressure point for you and for municipalities. I'll make sure I bring that forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other questions, Councillor? Councillor Howe?
Hi, Mike. I'm wondering about the provinces. We're hearing a lot here that BC has managed to flatten the curve a little bit better than some of the other provinces. Hearing there's a net decrease in the cases in British Columbia. That's the new cases, subtract the number of recovered cases, and we're actually starting on the downward slope. So my question is have we heard anything from the provincial government if the provinces are going to be able to open up and go back to work individually, or are we going to have to do this as a collaborative group? Is the entire country going to have to be free of cases before we're going to be allowed to go back to work? Have you heard anything along those lines?
You know, it's a really good question. We've been getting lots of commentary around that. And of course, as you can appreciate, we're taking all the guidance right now from Bonnie Henry, Chief Medical Health Officer, around that. Her initial warnings that she mentioned to us here a couple of days ago was that she'd be very reluctant to do anything in the near future, even though we're starting to see the flattening of the curve, as you said, and maybe a downward trend on some of the positive cases. It can start back up right away. Like, we've got no issues for the most part up in this area here with our seniors or in our seniors home. But Will, as you know, all it takes is one person to spread it to the wrong person and away it goes. So she wants to be very sure that we have a lot of the herding kind of copes in place. The other big issue that we have to be careful about opening up too soon here is our biggest trading partner is the United States, and about a quarter of the world's cases are in the United States now. And we have known cases as well in Alberta. And we have so many people that go back and forth across the border, moving trade, whether it's our truck drivers, you name it. It's hard to just isolate our province and say nobody's allowed in or out because we're good and let's open everything up. That won't solve all the problems either. So that's a bit of a long answer to say that right now the medical health officer is monitoring it carefully, she tells us, but she has hinted that it could be at least another month or two before she makes any kind of definitive changes.
Thank you, Mike. Any other questions, Councillor Lehman?
Thank you. Mike, I'm just wondering why Northern Health doesn't let people know where these cases are as they do in Alberta and most other provinces. We seem to be lagging behind. And I don't know, they said that it's because they don't want to cause panic, but I think they're likely to cause more panic by not letting people know where these cases are.
Okay, well, thanks for that. I mean, here's what I can say, and I'll sound a little bit protectionist of Northern Health, and only because it's not their decision. Northern Health has been mandated by the province to not release that information under law, nor can any other health district in the province of British Columbia release that. The only person that's releasing the information is Bonnie Henry, or the Minister of Health, and that's only on, as they are saying, extreme circumstances where there's going to be either there's been fatalities, and they know that there could be more if they don't get the word out, or in cases where it's a high-risk area. As you know, there was talk in Lynn Valley and in the Fraser Valley because it got into seniors' homes. So when I asked the question, they told me I could read between the lines, they said, but they said that if there was any kind of situation in the Peace region where there was a risk to the population up here, especially to our seniors population because of our care homes, et cetera, that it would possibly transmit into there, that they would then release information because it would be to protect and get the word out there. But I guess this has been a hot topic right across the province. Every province has taken a different approach. BC government has chosen under the privacy, they're using the privacy law to not share any of that information. If somebody who is contracted and wants to share that information, they're more than willing to do that. So if somebody in the Peace region has it and wants to go public, then there's no issues with that. But to date, nobody has done that, and Northern Health has been mandated that they can't share that either. The only thing I would probably add to that, and I know Will and a few others have probably seen when I put this on Facebook, on social media, and I've talked to the media here, we need to act as if it is here, because honestly, it probably is. There is probably somebody in our community, in your community, that has either the symptoms, has been exposed to, is possibly has minor symptoms that aren't maybe recognizable because it can come in a different wave of experiences when somebody contracts it. So the message that I've been giving to everybody is act like it's already there. And I totally understand your point where you're saying that, you know, the anxiety that some people feel from not knowing. I also have heard from people, though, that if they did find out if it was in Tumbler Ridge, then the anxiety of, oh my God, I'm stuck in a community where it's here. And so it kind of goes both ways. And so we have to be very kind of sensitive to that. But at the end of the day, the government and the health medical officer have made the ruling that the health authorities are not allowed to release that information.
Thank you.
Councillor Kukalka?
So along the same lines as Councillor Lehman asked, do we know how many tests have been done in Northern Health?
I actually don't have that information readily available. We can definitely try to check with Northern Health. But here's the thing, Daryl, is testing is only a small part of it. I've learned way more than I ever thought I would about how this stuff works. But testing is only part of it. And the reason being is when they say go home and self-isolate for 14 days, or if there's somebody who possibly has symptoms and phones 811 and says, look, I've got a bad cough, what do? They're told go home and self-isolate for 14 days and take care of yourself. they're not all being tested. We are not doing 100% testing in the province of anybody and everybody who thinks they might have it. And the situation keeps evolving daily as they do more scientific studies on this, because originally they said that you could get a lot of false positives or negatives on these tests, because originally you would not get tested and show a positive result unless you were actually showing all the symptoms. So the problem is that 14-day window, you could be carrying it for 13 days, get tested, and it would show up negative, and then on day 14 your symptoms start, and then you'd show up positive on a test. And so this is a big part of why the self-isolation is taking place. But I guess my point to that too is we cannot rely completely on saying we're safe or not just based on the tests that are out there and the results. And even Bonnie Henry has said that herself, is positive cases that are out there are just a portion of what might actually be real.
Yeah, it's certainly incredible times right now, Mike. Appreciate the update. Any other questions from council? Just another update for you, Mike. I wanted to thank you for your efforts in helping us achieve the alternative payment plan in Tumbler Ridge for our doctors.
Oh, good. That worked.
Northern Health has taken over the doctor's office effective this week, I believe. And our chief of staff has secured a third doctor for the month of April, and has got a waiting list of candidates for the full-time position. So
good. Well, that's great to hear, and I'll also give a thanks, shout out to Dr. Helm too, because he's been, as he usually is on some of these things, ruthless on making sure he's gone to me and other doctors and trying to get the word out there and look for different opportunities. But thank you, Your Worship, for the work you did too for bringing that forward.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort in Victoria as well. So thanks again for the update call, and stay safe out there.
Yeah, no, you guys too. Keep your distance. We already see the flattening of the curve. Let's get rid of this thing completely so we can all get back to whatever normal is going to be after all this. For me, it's I'm not going to Victoria anytime soon because they've canceled all the flights and they don't want us down there either. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But in the short term, let's just doing our part. And if you have any questions, just get a hold of me directly, Keith, and especially around the question that came up too around tax deferral. I'll put that forward and find out if there's any information on that.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mike. Have a great
day. Gang, you take care. We'll talk soon.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Participant exiting.
Resolution to the
Mike Bernier.
Recommendation that the meeting is closed to the public in accordance with the Community Charter Section 91G, and as follows. G is litigation of potential litigation affecting the municipality. Seconder, Councilor Trapper, all in favor?